Good morning, good morning. Hello, hello. Starting in 1 minute. Buenos días. All right. Drawing Headpool. Let's get started. Hello, hello. Thanks for stopping by. Thank you, thank you. I'm happy to bring a little bit of entertainment to everybody's quarantine. I don't think I've ever actually drawn Headpool before, so this is the first. It's weird how many Deadpool characters I haven't drawn despite having done the series for like 5 years. What's this question? How do artists draw torsos with rib cage line, and what does rib cage go halfway or different place? I'm not sure I'm understanding the question, and I'm not sure if it's something like it would be difficult to explain anatomy during a live stream while drawing something. It's I like I said, I'm not even sure if I'm understanding the question 100%, and I don't want to not be helpful. But getting into some complicated anatomy during a live stream is maybe not the best time. If you pick up the kind of no frills cheat codes, that has some stuff about the rib cage. My anatomy book has some enough stuff about the rib cage. Like, there's a ton of muscle around it, if that's what you're asking about. And if I just rattle them off, I don't know how helpful that'll be for you. As far as the halfway point, again, like telling you, it's sort of at the bottom of the sternum. This is a little nugget of bone called the xiphoid process. But like again, me explaining it during a live stream probably isn't going to be very helpful. But if you kind of put your finger at the bottom of your sternum, that's just about the halfway point, if that's what you're asking. Let's see. I think what he means is, how do artists place the rib cage lines in correspondence to the abs? Maybe. Again, it's a little tricky to explain. So, men and women have different angles at the opening of the rib cage. If you start at that bottommost point of the sternum I mentioned, let me see. This is probably not the best use of a live stream, but if this is a rib cage, I'm gonna have to maybe do live streams of just some lessons because this is disrupting things a good bit. But this is that bottommost point of the sternum I mentioned, and this opening, it's different from men and women. It's wider on men, narrower on women, and the rib cage kind of comes straight down. I'm sorry, the abdominal wall comes straight down from there. That's probably not the best explanation, but like I said, I'd have to stop the live stream to do a lesson on anatomy, and I don't know that everybody else would be too thrilled with me if I did that. Hope that helps, though. No, I totally get it, man. I want to help, which is why I put those PDFs together, like a name your price, so that like even if you can't go to art school, you can't afford a whole lot, you should be able to jump on and grab one of those. Go to my Instagram for the drawing cheat codes. You can there's some ribcage stuff in there, and you can just look at the Instagram feed for free, and that might help. I totally get it. The ribcage is a tricky thing. And I will have to maybe try to find a better way to explain it during a feed. Maybe I can do a lesson, or I don't know, something. Thank you. Someone's asking, let's see what this is. Can I DM you if I have questions? I don't want to sound terrible, but I don't check my DMs on here. I get bombarded with them. And unfortunately, people also want to send me like unsolicited story stuff, which I just legally can't look at. So the safest bet for me legally is just to not look at DMs. So somebody doesn't claim later that like, oh, I sent you my story idea and now, you're doing it over at Marvel or something. I know that sucks. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to try to find a way to maybe, like I said, do some sort of lessons maybe online or I don't know. It's weird to. I want to be helpful, but I also don't quite know the format for it, But I apologize. I'm sorry. I can't. The DMs thing is like a thing I can't jump into without it causing all kinds of other issues for me. And plus, like I said, I just get so many of them, which I appreciate. I love that people want to reach out. And most everybody's super dope and nice about it. But, like I said, inevitably someone sends me something that I cannot look at. And there's no easy way to manage it other than just to be able to say, look, I just never look at those things. But like I said, check out my drawing cheat codes on Instagram, just for like little cheat code lessons for free. Or if you hit my bio link, I have all that stuff in PDF format, like at Name Your Price, so that it doesn't cost any money. They used to be free on there until I started getting dinged by for hosting costs. So now it's like a minimum price of $1 just to keep it so that I'm not getting a bill from Gumroad. But it's designed to be, affordable. The original anatomy thing I put together is on there. It's not the pretty, expanded one with the extra material, but you can still get the sort of low budget one on there. Or you can spring for the elaborated one, which is like $10 for the digital version. Singing Telegram. That'd be dope. Especially now, as long as they wore a mask. I feel like I have Deadpool comics that you drew because of the style. Deadpool is cool looking. You probably have. I have the record for most Deadpool comics pages drawn. So if you've read a Deadpool comic in the last however many years, there's a good chance you've picked up one of mine. Thank you. Will you start maybe a Discord server? That's actually not a bad idea. I've actually considered it. We're sort of in a funny place right now where, like, Marvel keeps me very busy, but also we produce all this extra stuff, and so we've been thinking, like, is it time to maybe do some sort of a Patreon thing where I can offer some of this stuff, like lessons, to a Discord server or whatever for like a couple bucks a month or whatever. I don't know, but I think we're looking into it. It's a good idea. Plus, it might be cool just to have it for all the extra stuff we do. Actually, that's it. I should ask you guys. What do you think? Should I do some sort of a Patreon where, like, you can get all the PDFs we put out on Gumroad per month? We'd probably do more stuff. Maybe start up some sort of a chat where I could do a question and answer thing, maybe once a month or something, or once every 2 weeks. What do you guys think? Jim Lee has the Discord server I love, but I think yours is going to be cooler and more active. Wow, that's dope. Thank you, man. I think Patreon would be a good way to kind of filter through the unsolicited DMs and not... Yeah, I agree, man. Like, it sucks because if in a perfect world, I tend to be a lot more open. Maybe more so than I should be. I'm always surprised by, like, other creators or people who are like, dude, you respond to all your Instagram comments? Like, that's crazy. You shouldn't do that. And I'm always surprised by that. So, I feel like a Patreon's like a nice organized way of doing it. But even that makes me feel a little bad because, like, you still have to put it, as part of the subscription. But I don't know how else I would manage it. Like, just having an open thing where anybody can jump in and ask questions would be dope, but I could see it getting away from me pretty quickly and not being able to manage it with monthly books and then having to shut it down for everyone, which would suck, Where did I learn to draw? Or why did I start? Wait, what's the second part? How do I improve my art? Learning to draw is something I sort of did on my own for quite some time, but I did go to art school. I studied painting, so I'm classically trained in that regard. Um, in terms of when I started, I just don't remember not drawing. Uh, how do you improve your art? Even without going to art school, it really is just a study thing. Like you guys have probably seen, I post warm up drawings. They're not just for warming up, they're really for also just to practice, just to keep that tool sharp. So I'd say find all the resources you can. Start with the inexpensive ones, like not just the stuff I'm mentioning on my bio link, but like even just online. Look for any resources you can get. The How to Think When You Draw stuff is great, and that's all free on their blog. You can find some classic anatomy books like Dr. Richet. Here, let me write it down. Let's see, I'll put this here so maybe everybody can see it. So, how to think when you draw. It's hard to print. I'm used to cursive. That's one. You could get this one. You should be able to find a PDF online for free, but it's worth if you can get a used copy or something. It's worth it. Let's see, Bridgman. I don't know how you spell. Is it Bridge? I don't know if there's an E, so forgive me if I spell it wrong. Bridgman's Constructive Anatomy. Those, I know you can find that kind of stuff online for pretty cheap or free. You can also get some apps. There's some great anatomy apps, but the main thing is really just like practice every day. You can practice figure drawing with, I think it's called Sketch Daily. I think it's .com. I'm not sure. And Quick Poses. Those are like timed figure drawing references and stuff. There really is no magic bullet for getting better. It really is just a practice thing. So get yourself a nice sketchbook, something you enjoy, something that's going to make you happy. It doesn't have to even be like a super expensive sketchbook or anything. And just decide I'm going to draw, like, I don't know, one warm-up sketch every day, even if it's like right before bed or whatever. It doesn't have to be a ton of time invested at first. You can really just start out with whatever free time you happen to have and just practice often. That really is just, it doesn't sound like much, but you practice every day for half an hour or whatever, and I promise you'll see an improvement after a month, 2 months, 6 months. But you gotta be forgiving with yourself, and don't beat yourself up if you're not doing amazing right out the gate. I did that for years and years when I was a kid, and it did not serve me at all. And just being angry while drawing does not serve you. So just give yourself some patience and some room to grow, and just practice a little bit every day. Teach your eye to sort of work well with your hand, right? Like reproduce what you are seeing, and then drawing from memory will sort of follow from that. You'll learn from studying the figure, you'll learn from studying anatomy, and things will slowly start to make sense, just a little bit at a time. And there's no like end point. Like even now, I still work to try to improve things. I still, well, pick a thing to focus on, I've mentioned here on the stream a couple times. Like I got 13. I think it's 13 sketchbooks going. Each one has a different job, right? So one's for color theory stuff. One is for anatomy and action type figure drawing. One is for straight up figure drawing. One is for facial expressions. All that stuff, you know? Hope that helps. Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm glad to hear it. I teach at an art school, and it wasn't something I had ever pursued. It just sort of fell in my lap after speaking at the school. I was like one of those people that never thought I'd be a very good teacher, because I'm a little selfish, right? Like I want to worry about my own stuff, not somebody else's. And I had just worked on this film called Hop, and if any of you makes fun of me for it, I'm kicking you off the stream. But I had done these storyboards for a movie called Hop, and they asked me out to PCAT to speak at the school, and I just really enjoyed talking with the kids. It was fun, and they asked me to come back for 24-hour comic day, and next thing you know, they're like, hey, why don't you teach a class? And I'm like, hey, this is fun, let's do it. And all of a sudden I'm teaching, like regularly. Never saw that coming, but I've really grown to love it, especially teaching anatomy. It's probably my favorite thing to teach. That's where the anatomy book and the cheat codes have come from. Nothing in there is just kind of made up. It's all stuff that was worked in class. So I'm proud of that. Hop like the Easter Bunny movie. Yep, that's the one. I worked on Hop. I storyboarded a couple of scenes in it. I used to do a good bit of storyboarding. Not so much lately, but yeah. Did some storyboards for another project that some of you may have heard of. It was this one game company, and they wanted me to do these conceptual boards for this game they were going to give away. And I remember thinking, you're crazy. You're going to give your game away? Like, you're trying to go out of business. But I said, I won't come to you. I won't come out to the studio, but I'll do your boards. And I think I was on Deadpool at the time, actually, but I wasn't exclusive to Marvel yet. I was still, like, avoiding that kind of stuff. And so I did these boards, and they liked them, and they said, can you do some more? So I did some more, and then I was like, look, I'm out. Like, I got to keep Deadpool on point, and I was thinking to myself, like, there's no way these guys make it. They just want to give their game away. And you probably have guessed that game went on to become Fortnite. I'm a dummy. I jumped off of early Fortnite business. Since then, I haven't really done any storyboards. Although I have done lots of character design work. There's a Hitmonkey show coming out soon that I did some character designs for. What did I do for Fortnite? Some conceptual boards. Like, it was mostly stuff like, not like storyboards in the sense of, like, this is what's going to happen, but, like, they were internal boards to show, like, different action sequences that would illustrate what you could do in the game. So I don't know that they were ever published or anything. It was just like like most storyboards, they never really make it past the director or the art director of the project. Be cool if they released them sometime. I'd love to share them. I don't think I can legally. I don't know. Look into it. Be cool to put into All City some of those early boards. My son could have killed me when Fortnite came out, and he found out like I could have done more work for it, and I did it, and he was pissed because he was like, "You could have been a beta tester, and I could have been there since the beginning." I need to go to to Fortnite because the game is dying. Nah, man. um, yeah, my boy said it's not as popular as it used to be. I don't know. Like, I heard it was kind of hot once the new Deadpool stuff was on there, but I don't know. I've had a couple instances where I've almost worked for game companies, or have done it like short term and then rolled out. It's just, I don't know. I still like comics. Besides, if I'd have stayed on Fortnite, you wouldn't have had all these Deadpool comics I drew. Must have been cool for him. His dad worked on a game. Yeah, it definitely got me some clout with him and his little homies. It was cool. It was. It reminded me of when he was really little. Um, I had done some comics for Chick-fil-A, which was it was just a gig, but I didn't think much of it. And then like his little friends at school were like, "Oh my God, we went to Chick-fil-A and your dad's comic. They gave it to us in a whatever their version of the Happy Meal was." That got me a lot of clout with the kids too. That was cool. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm very proud of my Deadpool run. It was a thing I always used to avoid. Like, I never wanted to stay on a comic for very long. Just because I used to get bored. And so I spent most of my career just sort of like bouncing around and not wanting to stay on a book long term. And then Deadpool came along, and I actually originally turned it down. Forget what I was doing at the time, but they came back and they were like, we really want you to hook it up, and I really liked the editor, so I thought, all right, we'll do it. And I loved working on that book. I loved working with the team we had. We fought like hell to keep it all together. At the time I was drawing Deadpool, DC was trying really hard to get me to come over and do Superman, which I did do a little bit, just like they talked me into like half an issue just because I wouldn't even commit to a full issue, and they were really super duper nice and offered some cool projects, but it was just never right. I didn't want to leave Deadpool because everything felt so right, and the rest is history. Got to do a really cool run. Got to break the record for most Deadpool drawn. It's very cool. I'm proud of that. Thank you. Yeah, this is my first time drawing Deadpool. Or I'm sorry, Headpool rather. Which is hard for me to believe. There's all these like Deadpool characters that we never really used. Like, I think we only even used Blind Owl once. Like, kind of as a throwaway gag in the Death of Deadpool issue. Oh no, wait, it was the Deadpool wedding one. He's fun though. It's bonkers. Like, is there a DC equivalent to Deadpool? I think there might be a guy. I'm pretty sure. I forget his name. Slade Slowson. Wade Slideson, something like that. I never heard of him 100%. All City, a book company. It's my art book series. We did the first one recently. Here, I'll show you one. We did the first one on Kickstarter. They're not really available other than through Kickstarter and stuff, but it's, whoops, sorry for shaking the camera. Just collection of art sketches. We're hoping to do one a year. Yeah, basically, it's fun. I love it. It's a nice little side thing that allows me to goof around a little bit more than I do with the regular Marvel work, and I enjoy it. I think we're going to end up doing a lot more art books through Kickstarter. We're talking about maybe collecting the warm-up sketches I've been doing into an art book. It's a little crazy though, because we sort of counted up all the pages and art we had and realized that like I could do like a 400-page book, which would be super dope, but it would be expensive to make, and I'd have to charge quite a bit, which I don't know how I feel about that 100%. But I guess if we did the Patreon thing, we could also put them out like little PDF books more often. Slade Wilson, who's that? Never heard of that guy. Wade and Slade have the same last name? No. You think they're related? That would be weird. Alright guys, this is almost done, I think. I might do a little splatter ink on it. Let's find some red, because that is always fun. Yeah, they really are. The darkest shadows, it's dope because it's like the finishing touch on the drawing, you know? You're not always sure that it's working really till you get to the very end. Some nice blood red ink here. Splatter him up real good, make him look gross. Yeah, that's dope. I like that. What do you guys think? Can you see that on there? What's up? That's one of my kids. Everybody's home from school. So far, so good. Mike, what's my favorite tactic and technique for sharpening my comic book skill set? Honestly, just make comics, man. I can't stress that enough. Like, there's no like exercise that beats just doing the thing. Like, practicing your drawing is sort of, you can break that up into little pieces. Like practicing how to draw an arm or a leg or whatever. But with comics, it's one of those things that like each page has a different story challenge. And it's a thing you really can't address until you get on the page, So you could also pick up some books. The Will Eisner stuff always helped me personally. The Scott McCloud stuff, but yeah, I can't stress enough. Just you got to make the comics. You know what I mean? Even now, like on a day-to-day basis, I hit story problems that you can't necessarily foresee, right? Like, and you have to solve them on the spot. So just make the comics. They don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be beautiful. Just allow yourself to sort of figure things out on the page. You know what I mean? And make mistakes. And then walk away from the page and try to reassess. See what worked, what didn't work, what you liked, what you didn't like, and then use those tactics again later. Hope that helps. So I want to put some highlights on the teeth and stuff. May not show up on the stream, but it looks cool on the page here. Makes him look all slobbery and gross. This was fun. This was very fun. All right, everybody. I think that's done. Thank you. I appreciate that, man. I'm going to call it done. I think. I'll put a little bit here. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks for all the input on the Discord server and all that. I'll have to look into it a little bit more. Thanks for the input on Patreon. I'm not real sure 100%, but it sounds like all of you guys would be into it. I have to see what the benefit would be towards offering new stuff and all that. But that's it. Thanks for watching. Peace.